So welcome everyone in this very special moment that we're going to launch our actually first program that we're offering on the Wize Move Society. That is something that, will be available online and that you can just do in your own time, your own space, and how often you want it. And, it's really something that is, for us, is new. And it is part of something that we really feel is really important for the over 50 generation, and that is healthy aging. So we did a pilot actually with Deborah's program, and with our experienced entrepreneurship participants. They tested out the program, how it went, one session every week. But for now, it will be available. After this session will be available whenever you want it and how often you want it, and wherever you are in the world, it doesn't really matter. So it's so great to be here. And I see, of course, Deborah's here as our expert teacher in this on this program. Mary Jane, one of our thought leaders. Vicky is one of our members on the Wize Move Society, as is Pam. And Carmen, I really love it that you're here. And
Thank you.
Yes, from Iowa in the United States. I am going to let in someone new. So really great to see you all here. And well, we're going to start with Deborah because she is the leading lady in this program. So Deborah, just share a little bit more about your background. Who are you? And this whole healthy aging part, how important is that for you? How long have you been focusing on this part of your expertise? So Deborah, the floor is yours.
There's my buddy Berenice. So I won't bore you with all the details because I've been doing it for so long. You go.
So we want to know details. Not too many, but yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because in 1973, a gentleman introduced me to yoga in South Africa. And so I fell in love with him and I fell in love with yoga. So
just okay. So what happened with him and what happened with yoga?
Well, he went bye-bye, but yoga stayed.
Yoga stayed.
Because yoga is forever. I had been doing exercises in that before, but what I found with the yoga, it just felt different. And I didn't know at that, because I was only 24. I really didn't know what it was all about. I just knew that it was like I was coming home. And so I thought, I just have to keep doing it. And so when I got back to Canada, I became a teacher. So that is in 1973. So where are we now? We're going on 50 years. And so I can say that it's been my foundation throughout my whole life. I've had businesses, I have a number of businesses, I've had jobs, I've had, been on excursions, I've traveled the world, and it has always been my foundation because it's so holistic. And why it's important for us as, take a look at, we're just these vibrant people that have lived healthy lives, we've lived energetic lives, vibrant lives, and how do we keep ourselves moving forward because we're living longer? So it's like we really do need to take and put a stick in the ground and say, okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm moving. And most of you do, but how often are you doing it regularly? Are you going for walks? Are you doing your exercises? Are you meditating? Or what are you doing to keep yourself in that place of basically balance so that you can move, you can be, you can produce, you can just be in life and know that you've got a healthy future? Because as we know, as we age, things tend to shift, right? Instead of up here, they might shift down a little lower. So we want to keep them up as much as, sorry, maybe this way instead of this way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That too. And And so what we did with this program is we looked at that and said, how can we look at those over 50 and help us along the way in a simple way? So that's why we put together a short program. So the videos are no longer than 15 minutes, but they look at the balanced aspect. And that's what I love about yoga. It's all aspects of you. So there is the breath, and we're working the breath and having strength and flexibility and agility and silence and deep rest. And you'll love the last section because it's Yoga Nidra, which is all lying down and just tuning into yourself and enlivening each part of yourself and getting a deep, deep relaxation. And the other sessions are balance, so that we can develop the cerebellum in our brain more, because that's our balance center. And we do super brain yoga for the memory. We do stretching and flexibility and strength in the chair and standing and lying down on the mat. So it's very balanced, it's very holistic. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, you already mentioned a lot of things in just this short period of time, because yes, you are right. You know, we all live longer, so we want to live longer in a healthy way. You know, it's not just adding years to your life, but it's adding life to your years. How can we do the things that we need to be doing? So probably most of us will have to live long or work longer, be part of that workspace, or we want to live longer and we want to be really active members of society. And to do so, we need to be healthy, but we need to be healthy at different levels. We always talk about, for a Wize Move Society, it's so important to look at the aspect of physical health, mental health, but also the emotional or spiritual health. Can you relate to that? Can you share us a little bit more about that?
Well, the mind affects the body and the body affects the mind. And so we know that when we're agitated, it affects our body, our breathing, and we feel out of sorts and it's very hard to calm down. But the nice thing about the yoga is you've got so many different tools to call upon to bring you into that place of being a little bit more grounded. Like before I came on the session here, I was doing my breathing. And so there's a tool. Okay, so sit and do the breathing. And because speaking in anyone's life is generally, it's like a little nerve-wracking. So check in, and that's another point. Check in and be in your body. And it's learning to be in your body because we have so much experience with being out there. It's coming in here and feeling really comfortable with being in your body is an art. And that only enlivens the whole physiology and the brain and the body and the chemicals in the body. And so we're the vagus nerve, so that we can be healthier for longer.
Yeah. And also help us thinking, I think, with things that, there's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of stress, and Mary Jane also knows a lot about it, resilience, also with aspects like that. It's important that you do ground, that you do breathe. I always do the grounding, feet on the ground and breathe into it, that I know that I'm present and that I can do the things that I need to be doing. So those aspects of that healthy aging are important. The moment that you realize, because we have been discussing, of course, so what are you going to bring in those 7 sessions? And then you feel, okay, we are this group at least, over 50, maybe over 70, 60, 70. We have people over 80 even. So what are you going to offer them? It doesn't need to be that we need to do all these very strange yoga positions.
No.
But I need to be flexible to, and I use that example with you a lot, when my grandkids come and they want to play their, the Lego and things like that on the floor, on the mat, there's nothing, they don't want to play it on, you try to do it on the table first, they don't want to do that. It needs to be on the floor. So you need to be sitting with them on the floor and build the trains and things like that. But then after the play.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a really important fact that there's how we take care of our body so we can just live normal lives. And what is normal? Normal is being able to reach up in the cupboard and get the olive oil. It's to get down and bend over and pick up the grandchild or the puppy or whatever you're doing, or to turn around and look at the car behind you rather than looking in that little viewer that they have now and watching, and it goes beep, beep, beep as you back up. I personally don't like that, because we get, whenever we drive, we have the opportunity to actually move our neck and our body, and we're becoming more sedentary. So taking the time to look at how you are with your strength, because if you're walking up the stairs and huffing and puffing, you need to look at what's going on. So the strength of your feet. So we work on that. We work on your feet. We work on the legs. We work on the agility. And what is agility? Agility is to be able to, if something happens, it's the flexibility that you have the agility to go do something and then come back to in position. So if you don't have the flexibility, something happens and you reach, you go, oh, I just pulled a muscle. So it's important to look at the whole you, which brings up that aspect of what also makes yoga different is the spiritual part of ourselves. And that's connecting to a deeper essence of who we are. So who we are can shine. And if we're busy, it's sometimes hard to know who you are and how you are and what you are. And so this gives you another opportunity to be a little more silent and do postures, do breath, or do balance with more mindfulness, which you feel in your whole being. And it's like it expands with an understanding of who you are, but you're also very relaxed so that you can do whatever it is. So you're energized, you're more relaxed, and just taking 15 minutes a day, three times a week, or a day would be much better, but 3 times a week minimum, to get out and move all parts of you. And that is the mind, it is the emotions, it is the body, and it is your spiritual aspect of connecting in with who you are.
Wonderful. Yes. Yes, Mary Jane.
Yeah, Ingen, and Deborah, something that triggers with me as you're speaking about this, and the importance of it is, and it hit home for me on Monday here for sure, but also in the past few weeks, I slipped in a parking deck. It was wet, and I slipped and fell on one knee, and my other leg was stretched out in front of me. If my husband hadn't been with me, and he asked me this as I finally stood up, using him as my support to get up, I didn't have the leg strength, to pull myself up by myself. I would have been stuck on the middle of that floor in a parking lane, not being able to stand up until somebody came along to help me. And I think this is something that we forget, we have to maintain this leg strength for ourselves. And if we do injure ourselves, that we're able to, you break an arm and you're on the floor, how do you get up if you can't use something to support yourself with, or it's not there? So Deb, I just wanted to share that, because it's hit home for me in the last few weeks, a couple of times.
Yeah.
This is a really important point. We can't let it go. We just can't. We have to make a commitment to doing something every day. Some people do a little bit and some people do a lot. So that's why we did 7. We did 7 days a week, so that you can, even if you're not in front of the computer, after a while, you become, I remember that. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm in a meeting. I can lift up my legs you know, I can just be at my desk and no one knows that I'm actually strengthening my legs and my knees and stretching my calves just by sitting at my desk. And so it's, we don't have that choice anymore. I'm sorry, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's responsibility to take care of ourselves. And,
Mhm.
and that's one of the beautiful things about this program. It's just simple. And you come at it at your own place as in you're sitting in front of your computer, but in your own place in your body. If you can't lift your legs up very high, you only go as high as you can. It's
Mhm.
listening to what your body is doing, not what somebody's telling you to do. And so that's huge. That's really huge when you're trying to be something that you're not quite yet, but you're building to that, is really important to do it on a regular basis.
Mhm. I think so. Yeah, thank you.
And thank you,
Deborah.
Mary Jane. I mean, that was a really good example of the strength and agility, flexibility, how
Mm,
important it is.
absolutely. You know, and I see with my mom as well, but she's 88 and you know, then we have a physiotherapist coming in because there's all these issues. And she has this chair that lifts her up and, you know, and seats her. And then I feel, you know, she needs a chair that doesn't do that, because then she knows that she has to use her muscles to get out of that chair instead of just pushing that button. And, you know, and there she goes. And I feel like, oh gosh, you know, this is not the right way.
You know, there's another story. My sister was having a knee replacement. She was in the hospital, and they asked her to sit up. So she, you know, she sits up, and the doctor says to her, "Oh my gosh, you know, we didn't have to help you sit up." She says, "Well, I do yoga," and so we take things for granted that if we do something on a regular basis, we become stronger. There's the flexibility, and we just start moving, and then we notice when something happens that, oh, I fell. Oh my gosh, I fell, but I can get up easy because I'm not struggling to get up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Pamela. Hey.
I just wanted to share something about the power of yoga, because I've been someone who's been doing yoga since the late 90s, not as long as you, Deborah, but it used to be 4 to 5 times a week. And then it was more like the last few years, 3 times a week for half an hour. And I just recently had my left hip replaced because I have osteoarthritis and I had no cartilage hardly left. And when I went in at my 6-week check, the orthopedic surgeon said, "Oh, can I help you get up?" And just like, no, I got up. And he said, I said, "How am I doing?" And he said, "You're ahead of the pack in terms of your rehab." And I attribute that largely because I've maintained my fitness level, and also because I've done yoga for so many years on a regular basis. And now I'm here. The other day I arrived to visit my kids and grandkids in Calgary, and I had to walk from one end of the airport to the other, and I didn't have my cane with me, and I did it. And it was like, probably half an hour at least. And so the point being, there is such power in yoga. And I'm looking forward to getting back into it and learning more about breath too, because I can ground myself, but I've not really studied breath. So I'm really interested. Could you tell us a little bit more about the breathing part of your program, Deborah?
Well, the breathing that I do, I just also want to honor Carmen and Berenice, because they've been doing yoga for decades, and so and they're actually 100 years old, and look at them, you know, like
Wow.
I just turned 105.
The breath in the breath that I do, it's light, soft, and deep, so that there's an essence of having the breath be a part of the posture, so that it's an element to connect to, but it's also changing the chemistry in the body. I used to do a big breath, but now that I've studied how the breath is it chemically, because in those days nobody really knew that much about the breath, but now they're finding that how you breathe, it's going to affect everything. And so this breathing is light, it's soft, and it's deep into here, not deep into here. And so what it does is that it changes the chemistry in your body, affects the vagus nerve. There's so many reasons for the breath and how it is working when you breathe through your nose. That's a huge thing, is to breathe through your nose and not through. Hi.
Thanks, Deborah. That's helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
Deborah, I don't know if you, I've got a visual that I pulled up, and I can show all of you exactly what happens. And this was by a yoga instructor as well. What happens with our breathing, and this effect that you're showing on the vagus nerve. Can Ingen, can you allow me
Yes,
to
yes,
share
you
my
can
screen?
share.
If Deborah's,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good graphic that I think.
You might have to send it to me.
Yes, I will absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Send it to all. We can send it to all of you. Can I share? Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to share.
Yeah. Okay. So this is biofeedback software, and I had this is a woman that was at a organization, and she was my guinea pig. Her name is Susan, and so I primed her ahead of time. I knew she'd done yoga, that breathing should be slow and deep breathing should be good for her. And so we were in front of a group. She was at the front. I had her sit with her back to the group so that she's not staring at them. And this is what happened in the course of just around 5 minutes. She started off, I was talking, explaining things to the group. And what this is measuring is something called heart rate variability.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually shows the beat to beat changes of our heart rate and how our breathing affects that. And this is one of the signals, the heart rate variability, the heart is sending to the brain to tell the brain, Deborah's breathing slow and deep, so change the chemical soup mix. All right, go from the adrenaline, cortisol, et cetera, to the oxytocin, the dopamine, et cetera, and endorphins. So afterwards, I asked her. Now, one thing beforehand is I had asked her if she was afraid of anything, if I had her stand up in front of the group to sing. No, I love singing, she said, but I'm terrified of getting needles. So I had primed her to say, I'm going to ask you to visualize getting a needle, all right, while we're doing this. Started off, and you can see, and I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's a pretty jagged pattern that's showing here. And later I asked her, I said, Susan, what were you thinking in here? Because as you said, Deborah, all of our thoughts create a chemical reaction in our body. And she said, I was afraid I wouldn't perform well for you. She had performance anxiety, mild, not overly, but still there. Here's where she started to slow and deepen her breathing, and you can see it looks beautiful sinus.
Beautiful.
Okay. And here's where I asked her, right about here, her heart rate went off the chart at this point, but it calibrates and came back on. I mean, her heart didn't disappear. She still was beating. But this is where I asked her to visualize going to her doctor's office, sitting in the chair, tourniquet on the arm, et cetera, et cetera. And there was no needle in the room. Her doctor was kilometers away. But you can see just how this changed that heart rate variability into a more stressed situation for her. So I love this visual because it really indicates in 5 minutes, she went through at least, well, and we ended on slow and deep breathing. So 4 different chemical soup mixes in her body in this 5-minute period. And we're doing this, as the researchers say, constantly to ourselves, just with our thoughts.
So let me
Right.
just give, this is beautiful. Well, you're gonna have to send it to me for sure.
Okay, all right, okay.
So what is heart rate variability? What it is when you breathe in, your heart speeds up. And when you breathe out, your heart slows down. So you want that. You want it to speed up. I mean, a minimal. It speeds up a little bit and then, but so if you don't have heart rate variability, it shows up as there's something you need to take a look at. You want to have that heart rate variability. So it's to do with the breath. You can think, breathe in, and I'm breathing in oxygen, I'm breathing in carbon dioxide, I'm breathing in nitric oxide, and that's going to stimulate the body. And then when I breathe it out, that's going to calm the body. So you want that variability.
Yeah. Yeah, it's essential that when the heart rate variability is really low for someone, then doctors, cardiologists then know that they have to do something to that the heart is going to fail. The heart is failing. So we need, you're right, we need that. Anyway, I thought of it as we were talking here, I pulled it up because I thought maybe this gives a good representation.
Yeah, yeah. And I have the experience for having post-COVID or long COVID, however you want to do, not being able to do the stairs in, one go and feeling like, oh gosh, what is happening? And so I went in rehab, and the only thing that they focused on was breathing. They exercise, but only they were watching what I was doing with my breath. If my breath was not okay, and that is how I healed myself, by constantly doing these breathing exercises. So I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Vicky, I'm going to ask you, because you have also joined in one of Vicky's of Deborah's programs. Can you share a little bit about your experience?
Well, since September, I've joined Deborah every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock my time. And she has led us through breathing and meditation, a half hour of breathing, and then 20 minutes or so of meditation. And I never realized there were so many different ways to breathe. But it is phenomenal. And I want to continue on with Deborah in the new year. It's been a life, really, I think it's been a life changer for me. And Deborah explains what's happening, which I really appreciate, because I'm always interested in that, about nitric oxide and carbon dioxide, which most of us, I don't think, would think is a good thing to have in our bodies. But she explains that it helps the oxygen that's in our hemoglobin to be used more efficiently by the body. Am I correct, Deborah? Did I say that correctly?
Oh my gosh, you listen. No, you remember.
I remember. I remember. But I do listen, and I make notes too, so that because I really felt I talk about this all the time with friends and family about how important I'm finding this, learning to breathe. I'd like to share something very personal, which really doesn't have anything to do with Deborah's classes, but I've been thinking about it while we've been talking about breathing. I was in labor with our second child, and the doctor came in and he said, oh, you're going to be another 2 or 3 hours. And I literally thought, I'm going to die. If I have to wait 2 or 3. So a nurse came in and she said, breathe. She said, in, out. And she stayed there for a few minutes and she did in and out. And then my husband says to me, what can I do? And I said, and all I could do was just gasp, say in and out, like keep me on track.
Yeah.
That baby came within half an hour. And it was a natural childbirth. So I just have to share, like, it just affected my whole body. Now I'm learning a little bit more from what Mary Jane has said, and of course what I'm learning from Deborah, that whatever was going on, during labor, that was keeping me from delivering this baby faster, had a lot to do with how I was breathing. So,
Anxiety.
Deborah, yeah, anxiety. Well, yes, I think I was holding my breath. I was holding my breath. Yeah. But yeah, Deborah's class, it is really very, very good. If anyone
and
has
you sleep better after her class, don't you?
Oh, I do. Well, I'm in my pajamas when at 8 o'clock. I'm got my nice comfy slippers on, and I find meditation is absolutely phenomenal after the breathing exercises. Let's just segue now into meditation. And I'm thinking, oh my, where have I gone? I've gone somewhere, I'm not. Meditation is supposed to be present in the present moment, but no, I'm
not necessarily.
No, not
you can transcend.
I am transcendent. It is very, very, very.
Thank
Anyway,
you, Vicky, for sharing. Yeah, it's really, I love to hear that that it really works. And I'm looking at Carmen or Berenice. Berenice, do I explain that right? Do you want to share some experiences?
Yes, I, of course, like she mentioned, I've done yoga for as long as I remember in my 20s, and it does keep you flexible. I'm 64 and I'm still doing everything normal. And I do walk a lot in the woods, and I fell often just because there's always something that's slippery, like a cone that I slip on, or there's ice and somehow you hit a piece of ice, and I'm perfectly capable of, getting up and continuing. And then I would come back and just do some yoga just to rebalance my body because I felt, so you kind of catch up and your muscle a little bit out of place. And so it's fantastic for that. And even one time I went to see the doctor, and because I have a little pinched nerve on my lower back, and so you check your movement, like, oh, turn your head, turn this, and bend over. And I just bend over like I can bend really, really, like, very low. And he went like this. He was a young doctor, like in his 30. He seems like a baby to me. And he looked at me like, I think he felt like he couldn't even bend that much himself. So I thought it was kind of interesting. And also, I'm going to comment on yoga. She's on yoga, the teaching of Deborah on yoga. She's an excellent teacher. Oh my God, she's so good. She knows what she's doing. She's done it. She's so flexible. I mean, she's an example to look up to. Like, I'm not as flexible as she is because I don't do as much as she does. But this is, you like, oh, at this age, I want to look like that. And it's a great example that we have to inspire to. And also doing this live with her, I really enjoy that because she can come and just put the pose, we do a lot of things online right now, but in person is also great because she would come and she's like, oh, you just need to change it just a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, that makes a big difference, because she can see that it's not exactly where it should be or something. So I can only say that she's a great teacher. So, and yes, keep going, the yoga. We have to motivate each other too, because it's easy to slip away and like, oh, I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so easy. Yeah.
What's that last point, Berenice? Just, I don't feel like it. But as soon as you get on your mat and you go and connect inward, it's something, it all shifts. It's like you become more present, more centered, and I'm sorry, but it's really blissful.
It's so true because you're absolutely right. To get to the mat, because once I'm on the mat, I can spend half an hour for sure. Not because, even if I don't have the time, because I just keep going with the exercise. It feels so good. You're right. That's a good point. Get to the mat. That's the main thing.
I really like it because now we don't have to talk, Deborah, and we just let everyone else do the talking. It's the best way, But what I like about also your story, Berenice, that you tell about, I want to look like that at that age, because, I don't feel like I need to ask a lot of people about how old you are. But Deborah, do you want to share how old you are? Well, you're doing yoga for many, many, many
well, yeah, I'm going to just pump myself. I'm going to be 75 in a couple of months. So,
yeah.
That's a 3/4 of a century.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what that is. I really don't. I mean, it's such a weird number, but it's like 75.
But it is possible to be 75 and be so flexible and healthy, and that is important for everyone else. I'm going to, don't say anything more. Carmen, do you want to share anything?
You have to go on unmute yourself, Benny.
I wanted to share that Deborah is one of my dearest, deepest friends. She lives and breathes and thinks yoga all the time. How she can not only keep herself healthy and happy, but what she can do for anybody and everybody else. It's really, really marvelous. I met Deborah in, I think it was 2009.
Yeah.
And I had just been in India for a year and a half working. When I came back, I was very depleted in many ways, emotionally and physically. And I thought, oh, I have to find somebody to do yoga with me because the mind and the body are so interconnected. I had been doing yoga since my 20s, in my 20s. And I was very vigilant. I could do the bow pose, touch my feet up to the top of my head and all those kind of things. This expression, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
And that is so, so true. You have to use it. So when I'm at my best, I do yoga twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, once in the morning before my meditation, and once in the evening before my meditation, and maybe 20 minutes, half an hour of some kind of program that I enjoy to keep my body even more flexible. Now, I do more than just yoga because I find that cardio is so important for me.
Mhm.
And certainly yoga has that aspect to it, but I mean really, and I walk when I'm at my best. I have COVID right now, so I'm not at my best. But when I'm at my best, I walk at least 10,000 steps a day. So keeping physically fit, not only for your physical, but for your mental and for your spirituality is so important for your happiness, your well-being. And I'm the same age as Deborah, or just a little bit younger, so I have to bow down to her.
I'm your elder.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to be this age and to be physically active. And at this age, even if I'm not physically active, I feel it. So then it's time to get back on the mat or to go for a walk. And even with what I have right now, it's been a few days since I've had this, and I'm starting to feel, oh yes, it's time to move my body again, as opposed to sleeping 24 hours a day.
It's telling you. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is just what Deborah said, this interaction between the mind, the body, and the soul. Yoga is such a beautiful way to do it. And Deborah really has devoted her life to it, her life and her passion, and her ability to not only be the best that she can be, but to help others be the best that they can be. And you know what else?
Love that.
She's really, really funny.
Yes, she is.
I love that about her. I love that when she teaches and she goes into some of her characters. Oh my gosh.
Well,
I love this.
you might not see them on the video.
Yeah, we still have quite some things to do. Deborah is going to let us do an exercise, and we do have something to share because, of course, we want to share more about the program. There's 2 questions, Deborah, I want to ask you before we move into that exercise part. One, is it only for women?
Of course not. Oh my gosh.
So now there's only women. Well, actually, at the Wize Move Society.
That's right. That's a very good question.
So,
oh, the men that I know that do yoga love their yoga because it embodies everything from getting strong and then also having that flexibility and connecting with their self. And we need to support. Men are coming in because they know that there's a shift taking place, and yoga can be a way of entering this new way that we're going in life, which is so uncertain, with something that's more balanced, because they can get strong and agile and have the breath and meditate so it's holistic. It's a holistic practice. So I encourage every man to get this video, or at
Mhm.
least go down the street and do a yoga class.
I really love that. Yeah, absolutely. So it's for men. I see you, Berenice. I'm come back to you. So it's yes, it is for men. And the second question I wanted to ask you: do we need a couple of years experience in yoga, or can we just start with these 7 sessions? Do we
Well,
need a background, or is it like, let's just do this?
that's a really good question. No, you can come as you are, whether you've had no experience to yoga or whether you've been doing yoga for a long time. You can do these series because I may do some poses that you've never done before, or some features that aren't done before. You maybe don't know that much about the breath, or we do a memory exercise. We do a really great balance and balance series that uses the feet and the arms, and so there's a lot of movement there in the memory on that one. So there are different forms of postures that we're doing. And so anybody can come. If you have an attitude is, I'm just going to come from where I am.
Good.
And that's really, really important.
Yeah, then you will improve anyway.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Berenice, last question, and then we're going to move into the exercise that
Oh,
Deborah wants to share.
a quick comment. There is more men coming to yoga, I noticed.
Yeah.
In the
Oh,
class.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, you wanted to share an exercise with us, Deborah. So,
Yes. So this one is called Super Brain Yoga. And so what it does is it enhances memory. So what we're going to do is, wherever you are, just stand up. You can have your shoes on or off. And what this does is, well, I'll stand here because what we're going to do is an integration of your body. So we're going to take the left hand, left hand over and place the thumb on your ear and the fingers wrapped behind. And then take your right hand over, and here's your thumb right pinching the earlobe and the fingers behind. So you've got your right hand over. What this does is it enlivens through acupressure and stimulates the electrical currents to the hippocampus, which is the memory center. And so what we do is we're enlivening that. It only needs to be done like an hour a day. I'm joking. A minute a day. So can you hear me? Because I might be over my microphone. Okay, so you can go at any way you want. Your feet can be wide. You can go as deep as you want. You can go as shallow as you want. What we're going to do is we're going to have the tongue at the roof of the mouth and have a nice tall stance so that your spine is in a natural curve. And then we're going to inhale down and have your knees. Now be careful about your knees. Just respect your knees and your ankles and your hips. And wherever you are, it's just the movement and where we're pinching the ears. So inhale down as far as you like and exhale up. Through the nose, both inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Inhale and exhale. Just as far down. Inhale, exhale. 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 You want your knees over your toes. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You can stop when you like, but you're aiming for 14. At least 14. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. I think we've probably done 14. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then just stand for a moment. Feet just a little bit apart. Crown of the head to the sky. Chin back a little bit, knees are soft. And tune in and experience the heart rate slowing down, and the breath slowing down. The rib cage expanding and contracting on your breath. So something as simple as that, for a minute a day, Super Brain Yoga enlivens your memory center. That's pretty cool. So your mouth is closed, tongue is at the roof of the mouth, and you inhale down and exhale up. Respecting your knees, respecting your hips, and doing what you feel is comfortable for you. And did you notice it can strengthen your legs? Give you a little bit of flexibility in your heels and your feet, in your hips, moves your hips. It's very simple.
Thank
Super
you.
Brain Yoga.
Feel alive.
Feel alive.
Feel alive. That's really great. Yeah. Well, thank you, Deborah, and thank you all for jumping in and sharing your stories. And of course, we would like to share a little bit about what this program entails. So now I am going to share my screen. So let's see if I have the right one in front of me. And here is yes. So I actually would like to, this whole program, what we're talking about, this first time that we are going to ever offer a program that's completely online and available 24/7, but also 365 days, whenever you want to do it, it's available. So why do we offer it? But we have been talking about it. So actively working on our physical, mental, and emotional health is essential in this time of huge demographic changes. In this group of people over 50, over 60 will have a huge impact at all levels of society, including healthcare. So we better age healthy. That's important, that we just are able to influence it. We also need to prepare ourselves to work much longer than we imagined when we started our career. So we need to, and then there's all these pictures in my screen, and I have no idea what's below all these pictures. We need to, and mentally be able to do so. So that is the why behind it. But what is important, what do we offer? So we have 7 videos made by Deborah of maximum 15 minutes, focused on different aspects of our body. Well, we all have been talking about it: breath, balance, posture, flexibility, mindfulness, etc. You have 24/7 access to the videos and the instructions. You can start whenever you want, use it whenever and how often you want it. And when I was mentioning to someone last week, you can make it a 7-day or a 7-week challenge, to improve your health. And if you start tomorrow, you can already feel a lot better, when we dive into the new year on January 1st. So, disclaimer, of course, we have to do this. You have to be aware that always, when you're doing exercises like this and you're working with Deborah, that there can happen something, but we're not there. So you really have to be aware that you work up to your ability, don't overdo it. That's not good. Do it whatever you can. If you have underlying physical conditions, challenges, do, talk about it with your physicians, that you're sure that this is what you need to be doing. Yeah. So what is it worth? And we offer it in other programs as well to combine it, but it's 7 sessions, proven concept. We have tested it out by healthy aging expert Deborah, available 24/7. It is normally €125, available 365 days per year. And we have a special offer for you, only for 72 hours. It's a one-time offer, and it's a maximum for 10 people, for the first 10 people who arrive. We offer this program especially for the end of the year. And by the way, you can also gift it to someone else as a holiday season, but we now only charge €25 for the 7 sessions. Healthy aging also means investing in yourself, investing in your time, your effort, you committed. Of course, if you just decide to buy the program and you're not going to do this, there's no effort, there's no results. So, of course, you have to invest that time, that effort, that commitment. So tomorrow, wherever you are in the world, depends on, Elsa B, she's going to send out the emails. She's in South Africa, she will do it tomorrow. You'll receive an email with the link to the recordings. Again, the special offer, what it means, and the link to register. The offer will be until Sunday evening, so it's now Thursday, yes, until Sunday evening, midnight CET. For you, those who are on the other side of Canada, it's 9 hours less, but we can do still, the 9 hours extra. But so you will receive that tomorrow. But there's one more. There is a very special offer. Oh, there's a special way of writing you. You can win a free program, and that is something that has been offered by Deborah. And there's one question that she's going to ask. And the first one who answered one question, can get a free session. So yes, unmute yourself and just jump in after she has asked that question. Deborah.
Okay, Carmen, are you coming back?
Yeah.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a really mind-boggling question. What was the exercise? What's the name of the exercise we just did? First person to put it in the chat.
Or call out, can they call it?
Oh, sure.
Super brain yoga.
Super brain yoga.
I really think it was Pam who said it first. Super
Oh,
brain
she also
yoga.
put it in the chat.
Oh, she also did it. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yay, Pamela.
Thank you.
Pamela is also the president of Female Wave of Change Canada, which is
Good.
very dynamic. An author.
And
A new author. I know she's written a book before, but
great book for all women
Thanks, Deborah.
over 60 to read. So
yes.
very good. Yeah. But anyhow, Pam, you'll receive the email from Elsa B with the link and everything else that you will have the free sessions. And of course, we really would like to see all the others. For those who are members, because this is an offer that is for members and non-members of the Wize Move Society. If you are not yet a member of the Wize Move Society, and I'm actually not supposed to say this yet, but starting next week, Wednesday, until the 31st of December, we'll have a very special offer to become a member of the Wize Move Society. So keep track of what is going on. Instead of the €119 per year, we're now charging only for the 10 days, €29. So that's also very interesting for those who are not yet a member. So anyhow, for now, And I'm going to stop share because I really would like to see everyone. Thank you, Deborah. And, you know, it's really a pleasure for you to have you here. And I know it was such a great, you know, just to add on it, you are such a great, not just such a great teacher, but it's, you know, it's fun. You make it light, you make it, that's, you know, you just want to do these exercises and we can laugh together and, you know, and joke about it. And that is okay, you know, as long as we do improve our health, because that is what we really need to do. It's on the hour. Thank you very much, Deborah. Thank you all who joined us. Tomorrow morning or tomorrow, you will receive the email, and I hope that really a lot of you will be joining. So thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so
Nice to
much
meet
for
you all.
coming and joining
Bye-bye.
my buddies.
Happy holidays.
Beautiful.